Hi beautiful people, welcome to the channel This Time with Christ. My name is Vitimela Dumisontasha. Welcome to the channel. So before we get into the main date of this video, firstly I would like to thank everyone, all my new subscribers. Welcome. Thank you so much for the love, especially from our previous video. Thank you so much for the love, especially after the long pause or break that I have taken. I am back, I am here, I'm on a mission, and we are doing it. We are doing this together. So today we are talking about money. We are going to talk about what we call severance pay, right? So for us to understand this, I'll just call it bonus. So severance pay is what you get at the end of your contract when you are not resigning with that specific or that school that you're currently working with, right? So that is what we call a severance pay. So I'm going to discuss a bit about that and some of the things that we need to be mindful of and some of the red flags that we also need to be to watch out for. So first things first, when you sign your contract, severance pay, it has to be stated in your contract. So severance pay is an amount of money that you get at the end of your contract. So let's have a scenario. Let's say we have Bali and she earns 2.1 million won. I like to use 2.1 million won because that is like the minimum. Actually, like I don't think they still offer 2.1 anymore, but that is just the minimum wages that one would get if they're offered a job to teach in South Korea, right? So we have, did I say Bali? We have Bali. Bali is earning 2.1 million won, right? And she started her contract, let's say, on the 3rd of January 2025, and she comes to work on time, she does everything is going smoothly, and Mbali is interested in resigning. What does resign mean? It means that you are signing again a contract, right? So she is interested in signing again a contract with that specific school because she sees that no man, she's loving the school, the employer is loving Mbali, they just have a beautiful working relationship, right? So in that case, Mbali will not get her severance pay. So what is that? A severance pay, we can compare it to your bonus. You see, at the end of the year, certain companies, they give out bonuses, or at the end of the financial year of that company, they would get their progress bonuses. So it differs with every company on when you get it, right? So with South Korea, you get it at the end of your contract. But in the case of Bali, because she wants to resign, right? She wants to stay with that school. Bali will therefore not get her severance pay. She will not get her bonus at the end or when she completes the 1-year contract. So let's say 2025 3rd January she was starting a contract, and then come 2026 3rd January, that is 1 year. So Mbali has completed 1 year working with her school, right? And then she says, you know what, I love working here, I want to resign, I want to sign again a contract for my 2nd year. In that case, Mbali is not getting her severance pay. So Mbali will not get her bonus in that particular scenario. So she goes on into her 2nd year, she works, and it is still beautiful and everything is just still going well, and she decides to resign again 3rd year. Mbali, when she decides to resign again and goes into her 3rd year with the school, she is still not getting the severance pay. And then on the other hand, we have, let's use a guy, we have SIPO. So we have SIPO, and SIPO works for this ABC company, or ABC Hagwon, right? Because I teach at a Hagwon, I would make examples of a Hagwon, right? So we have SIPO. He works at a Hagwon, and he also earns 2.1 million won, right? And then month 6, month 7, month 8, 9, 10, 11, rather month 9, because you get asked the question, do you still want to renew your contract? Are you resigning with us? So your employer will ask you, right? So with my experience, I was asked a term before the end of my contract if I was re-signing with that particular school, right? So in the same case, SIPO would be asked the same question. SIPO, are you resigning with the school or not? And if SIPO decides that no, I want to go to another school, or I'm going back home, or I'm trying out something different, right? So SIPO in this case, he is eligible to get what? To get his severance pay. So SIPO at the end of his contract, right, when he completes his 1-year contract, he has to get his severance pay. He has to get his bonus. So what is the amount of the severance pay? How much is your severance pay? How much is the bonus, right? So your severance pay is plus the amount of your salary. So SIPO, he earns 2.1 million won. So at the end of his contract, on the next paycheck, right, on the next pay date, right, he would get his 2.1 million won plus another 2.1 million won. But remember, the first one, it has to be taxed and all those deductions will take place, right? And then comes in his severance pay, his bonus, and he will also get that. So meaning that SIPO would get what? 2.1 plus 2.1 million won at the end of his contract if he decides that he is moving to another school or he's going back home. Then he will get the 2.1 extra, right? So that is the bonus that one has to get. So that is the understanding phase, the basis that I want us to understand when it comes to severance pay. So before you sign your contract, you need to read through it, to read every single line, read every detail. I know you are probably just like excited that you got an offer, right, and you just want to sign the dotted line and just get on the flight and land in South Korea. But please just take time to read through the contract and make sure that you read a section that states all the details around severance pay. So it has to be included. You need to get it. It also has to stipulate, right, what can cause you not to get your severance pay, right? How would you forfeit the severance pay? Everything has to be outlined, okay? So I'm going to discuss that. What causes people to forfeit their severance pay? Mainly, the main reason one would not get their severance pay is when they don't complete their 1-year contract. So if I decide that month 9, I am tired of the school, I can't take it anymore, or something just happens and I have to leave abruptly, right? Then I would do what? I will not get the severance pay because I did not complete the 1-year contract. So it's like a reward, right, that you get for completing the 1-year contract. Failure to do so, unfortunately, regardless of the circumstances or the reasons why you cannot complete the contract, you then forfeit the severance pay. Another thing, though, that I want us to also discuss a bit today is the fact that some schools, not all Hagwons, right? Remember, a Hagwon is a private institute. It is a business at the end of the day, and everyone is looking into doing what? Earning money, is looking into making more money, right? So some schools, they would try to make you forfeit your severance pay. So it is truly important, especially if you go into your 2nd year contract and you take your leave days. Those things are extremely important. You need to calculate everything when you take your leave. Is it not going to affect your 1-year contract? I know of a scenario of a person who took a leave, who took their leave during the month their contract was ending, and then the school was just fighting with them that they did not complete the 1-year contract because they took the leave. It was just, too much. So you need to be mindful of all these things, that make sure that you don't make any mistakes that would lead you to forfeiting your contract, forfeiting your severance pay. All right. And then secondly, the school might come up with stories. Some Hagwons would come up with stories like the school is closing, therefore you have to leave earlier, you won't be able to complete your 1-year contract, the school is not making money. In that case, they want to do what? They are basically telling you, we can't pay you for the severance, and then you'll be there feeling bad for the school, feeling sad for the school, only to find out that it's just a story they are cooking up so that you can just leave, and then they don't give you the severance pay. So it is truly important that you have everything in writing. It's truly important that towards at the end of your contract, a term before the end of your contract, when you start talking these talks of are you resigning or not, it is truly important that one is sober-minded and it is mindful of every step that they take, every conversation that they have. You need to be aware of it. You need to truly be there in the moment. Try your best not to be ignorant about what is happening around you, and what you are signing as well is important. For example, there are other people or instances, right, whereby they would come up with a story that, oh, you can leave 4 weeks earlier before your contract ends, things like that. And then you are like, oh, happy to leave 4 weeks before my contract ends. And then this is a conversation you're having audibly, right? Nothing is written down. And they would go on to assure you that no, you will not forfeit your severance pay. You will get all your money and all that. But nothing is in paper. Nothing is written down. And then they come with papers that you must sign this resignation just to show that is this, that. Be mindful of that. Another thing, when you know that you're not resigning, you do not sign a resignation letter, because you are basically saying, I left before the end of my contract, therefore I am forfeiting my severance pay. So do not sign a resignation letter when you're not resigning. It does not make sense, right? So you need to be mindful of all these stories, all these things that happen towards the end of your contract, especially when you are not resigning, especially when you are leaving, right? So it's truly important that we are mindful of these things, because sadly they do happen, these things. Some Hagons, they will scam you. They will try by all means to scam you from your from your severance pay. So it's truly important that you are woke. You need to stay woke and make sure that you reread your contract. What are the things that are stated in your contract, right? You need to also be mindful of what is stated in your contract. Don't just go with emotions of being excited. Yes, we are happy that you got the job, but just make sure first that first things first, they are done. The everything that has to be stipulated in the contract, it is there, it is stipulated, and you also understand what's on the contract, right? If you honestly do not understand, there are so many groups that you can just ask, highlight that section you don't understand. Ask someone, who has been in Korea or China for a year or two. Ask someone who has gone ahead of you on what it means a particular thing. Ask ChatGPT, okay? If you don't want to ask people, ask ChatGPT, right? But make sure that you don't fall for the trap of forfeiting your severance pay. So let's go back to Mbali. So let's say Mbali, she resigns second year, she resigns third year and fourth year. So she's with the same school for 4 years, right? So in this all 4 years, Mbali is not getting any severance pay. She will only get maybe an increase on her salary. So she was earning 2.1, minimum is 200 won, right? So next year she might earn what, 2.3 million won, depending on how she negotiates, right? So she can jump from 2.1 to 2.3, then the other year 2.3 to 2.5, and then next year 2.5 to 2.7, right? So it's all dependent on how she negotiates when she gets there before she signs on the dotted line. So let's say she completes the 4 years and then she's like, nah, I'm done, I'm leaving now. So this means that Mbali will be getting severance pay for all the 4 years that she has completed. So the month that she leaves, so she will get her normal salary. So if she's earning 2.7 by the end of the 4 years, right? So she'll be getting plus that 2.1 plus that second year, the third year, and the fourth year. So meaning that when she leaves, she will leave with what, 5 months worth of salary. So she will leave with 5 months worth of salary at the end of the 4 years that she has worked in South Korea. Lastly, it's important that you plan ahead for your severance pay. What is it? What's the money for? Are you investing it? Are you saving it? Are you going to use it towards a certain project, right? So it's really important that you plan ahead for your severance pay, so that you are not taken by surprise, so that you don't find yourself swiping, and then the next thing, it was like, it was never even there, right? So it is important to plan ahead for your severance pay. It is important that we are woke, okay? So we are woke because, yes, some schools, if you are not attentive, right, they will try to trick you out of your severance pay. So it is important to be mindful of what you are, the papers that you are signing, especially towards the end of your contract or when you're about to leave. It is important of every document that you are signing. And lastly, make sure that every conversation that you have, especially when it comes to re-signing, staying, getting money, not getting the money, make sure that it is in writing. Don't just have agreements, just verbal agreements. Important that you also have your written agreement, so that you have the evidence, okay? Make sure that everything is there and you can back yourself up. It's important that, you know, you take care of yourself. It's important that, we become lawyers, we become vigilant, right? You become aware of everything that you are doing. That's all I have in today's video, talking nothing but severance pay. Talking about severance pay when you are not renewing your contract with your current school. Some of the things that you need to be mindful of. Bye. See you on the next video. Please do not forget to comment, like, share, and state below what are the things or questions that you would like for me to answer for you, or to do a deeper research, or to just share my experiences about them. Bye, take care, and just know that Jesus is extremely, extremely in love with you, and he loves you so, so much. Bye, take care.